Let's be honest, nobody, and I mean nobody, likes to be sold to. The second we feel it happening, our guard goes up, we get skeptical, and we're just looking for the exit. But what if there was a better way? A proven method that isn't about pushing something on someone, but is actually about helping them find clarity. Okay, let's dive into this amazing playbook on consultative selling. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to get into the core philosophy. Then we'll unpack this really cool thing called the RAPID framework. We'll walk through the key stages, and then wrap up with why your mindset is, believe it or not, the most important part of this whole thing. So here's the big problem we're trying to solve. How do you have a real, productive conversation to figure out if you can actually help each other without using those high-pressure, kind of slimy tactics that make everyone uncomfortable? It's all about moving from being pushy to being purposeful. This right here, this quote, is everything. It's the foundation for this whole idea. See, your goal isn't to force a yes. Your real goal is to help the other person get totally clear on what's right for them. And hey, sometimes the best decision is no. And that's a huge win because you helped them get to the right answer. And what I love about this slide is how clearly it shows the internal switch you have to flip. The old way is all about you, right? I'm performing, I need to convince them. It's needy. But the new mindset, it's a complete 180. It's all about them, serving them, helping them see clearly, and guiding them. Okay, so the philosophy is great, but how do you actually do it in a real conversation? Well, that's where the RAPID framework comes in. It's a super simple 5-step structure that just leads to a better, more human conversation. And here it is, RAPID. Rapport, afters, prove, interest, and direct. Now think of this less like a rigid script you have to follow, and more like a roadmap. It's just a logical flow that's designed to build trust, really understand what someone needs, and then guide them to a clear decision, one step at a time. So let's zoom in on the first 2 steps, which you could argue are the most important ones, rapport and afters. This part is all about the human element, making a real connection and truly getting what the other person is trying to accomplish. Rapport is so much more than just small talk about the weather. It's about setting the stage so you can have a really open, honest chat. It means agreeing on, hey, here's what we're going to talk about, and maybe most importantly, figuring out why they even decided to have this conversation in the first place. Okay, now this concept of afters is a total game changer. Instead of just digging around for pain points, which, let's be honest, can feel pretty negative, you focus on the afters. What does their world look like after this problem is gone? You see how that shifts the whole energy of the conversation? You're moving from problems to pure possibility. And to make this idea of afters really concrete, you're basically listening for clues in these 6 key areas. Are they trying to get more of their time back? Is this really about the money? Maybe it's about solving those never-ending headaches with their people. Or maybe it's something deeper, like getting clarity on their vision, their strategy, or even their ultimate exit. And a question like this, wow, this is how you elevate the entire conversation. You see, when you ask this, you connect a simple business problem to their personal vision. Suddenly, you're not talking about numbers on a spreadsheet anymore. You're talking about their life, their future, their dreams. That is a powerful, powerful shift. Okay, so once you really understand their afters, the conversation just naturally flows into these last 3 steps: prove, interest, and direct. This is where you connect that future they want to a real solution and just guide them to a clear next step. Now this is crucial. The prove stage is not a sales pitch. It's not about bragging. It's actually an act of service. Your job here is to lower their fear and build up their confidence by showing them with actual evidence that other people just like them have already gotten to where they want to go. And that proof has to be concrete. For example, a simple, punchy stat like this one. Members of these kinds of groups grow 2.5 times faster. That's not some vague promise, right? It's a hard data point that builds real confidence. And you can just keep building on that with more data, showing them that companies in these groups see revenue growth anywhere from 19 to 43% higher. Well, that's not you being pushy. That's you giving them the evidence they need to make a smart decision. And then you have the ultimate proof. You just remove the risk completely. A guarantee like this basically says, look, we are so confident this will work for you that we'll put our money where our mouth is. That kind of statement just speaks volumes. Of course, people are going to have concerns, that's natural.
But instead of arguing, you can use a simple, really empathetic framework like feel, felt, found. You validate how they feel, you normalize it by saying others have felt the same, and then you just gently show them a new perspective. It's brilliant.
And the last 2 steps just bring it all home. First, you check for interest. This is where you literally tell their story back to them. You summarize their goals, their vision, just to make sure you're both on the exact same page. And once that's locked in, you direct. This isn't a hard close. It's just proposing one simple, logical next step that makes it super easy for them to move forward.
Okay, let's zoom all the way out. We've talked about the tactics, the rapid framework, but honestly, none of it works without the right mindset. How you're thinking about the conversation is so much more important than the specific words you use. Think about it. Every single person goes on this kind of emotional journey. They start out on guard, totally skeptical. If you do this right, they become curious and then hopeful. But right before a big decision, people often get fearful, anxious about making a mistake. Your job is just to guide them past that fear to a place where they feel decided and confident. And that's the real magic of a framework like Rapid. It's not just a sales process, it's a human process. Every single step is designed to walk someone through that emotional journey, safely and with respect, moving them from skepticism all the way to confidence. So we end up right back where we started with this fundamental choice of mindset. Are you showing up to perform for someone, where the focus is on you and your pitch? Or are you showing up to serve someone, where the focus is entirely on them and helping them find clarity? That's really the only question that matters. It's the one to ask yourself before any important conversation, whether it's in business or just in life. Because I promise you, when you make that shift from performing to serving, absolutely everything changes.